Analysis of Group B. We now have the FIFA World Cup schedule of games that will be played between November and December 2022, thanks to the completion of the World Cup draw. More specifically, we present our research of World Cup groups to establish the favorites, as well as the talking topics ahead of Qatar 2022. We will also discuss Fox Sports' rough start to World Cup TV coverage, as well as our hopes that the next FIFA World Cup draw will be less cringeworthy than this year's. Today, I will review Group B of the World Cup. England understands all too well the dangers of underestimating the US, having lost both of their previous World Cup games. Indeed, England's initial reaction was that this draw echoed the group in 2010, when a 1-1 draw against the United States kicked off one of its most dismal World Cup campaigns. Memories of that humiliation, as well as Gareth Southgate's commendable sobriety, should serve as a check on overconfidence, as should the reality that this is the hardest group in terms of the world ranking. Even while there are still concerns about Southgate's ability to make tactical adjustments if games start to go against him, he has assembled a lot more optimistic and tournament-savvy England team than others that have come before. Thanks to his incredibly deep roster, England is finally a legitimate contender after making the final of Euro 20 and the semi-finals 4 years ago. The American men's national team boasts a wealth of promising young talent, including Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, Tyler Adams, and Weston McKennie, who are all regulars at top European teams. Despite missing out on the previous World Cup, the United States qualified handily enough, but selection irregularity has cast doubt on their ability to perform. Iran is competent rather than outstanding under Croatian coach Dragan Skobic. Just 15 goals were scored, and 4 were conceded in 10 games during the second group stage of qualifying. It had only ever defeated the United States in one of its 2 World Cup victories, which came in 1998. Iran's participation adds a touch of political intrigue, which the last team in the group, either another British squad from Scotland or Wales or Ukraine, only serves to amplify. England has a wealth of skill. They advanced to the 2018 World Cup semi-finals and the final of the most recent European tournament. If anything, they left with the feeling that they could have accomplished more because, in terms of quality, they were unquestionably on par with the teams who defeated them. Has Gareth Southgate gained any insight from prior errors? He has, in my opinion. Things should be very close behind England. Numerous American athletes play for elite European clubs, including Chelsea and Borussia Dortmund. But for various reasons, players like Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna don't always make an impact at the club level. They must travel to Qatar. Iran lost just 1 game in the Asian qualification round, although they don't appear to be as powerful as in prior tournaments. At this point, all of the prospective European qualifiers must be considered underdogs. But if Ukraine is playing, you can guess who the majority of observers will be supporting. A must-watch spectacular game. England versus the USA. There is an additional layer to the Joe Getchins illusions and tales told here, which date back to 1950. Both teams will be playing in their second group game. If Southgate and company need a victory, and if they haven't played well up to this point, leading the tabloids to demand blood, anything is possible. Welsh or Ukrainian fairy tales are the X factor. Okay, so Wales might not even make it. They, along with Scotland and Ukraine, will battle for 1 slot in a playoff. But Gareth Bale has carried Wales to almost unachievable heights. And considering what's happening there, Ukraine is currently the second favorite team in the world. If you sprinkle a little fairy dust on things, everything's possible. Gareth Southgate's England has improved steadily and will want to advance further after making it to the 2018 World Cup semi-finals and the recent European Championship final. The traditionally conservative strategist is under more pressure to release the brakes and allow his energetic, youthful team to go wild. Speaking of, Greg Berhalter, who is in charge of probably the most gifted group of American athletes the nation has ever produced, has been asked comparable questions. His team failed in qualifying, often due to dubious tactics. But if the US comes together before November, anticipation will be high. Iran will be a challenging side to break down, as it has in past tournaments. coach Dragan Skobic led a team that allowed just 4 goals in 10 games in the final round of qualification. However, it might be too much to ask given the caliber of countries like Syria and Lebanon. Important: who advances from the European playoff? Scotland and Wales would both have a strong motivation to compete against England, which might enliven a group that would otherwise be a 2-horse race. The support for Ukraine would be strong when it arrived in Qatar. The Three Lions encounter against the United States might prove to be one of the most thrilling of the group stage as Southgate lets loose, England runs wild, and England dominates. Thank you for watching, and please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enable post alerts to view more of our future videos. After saying that, keep watching our videos, and I'll speak with you in the next one.